There we are. So, in the bottom of the corner, bottom of the map, in the colour green, is KingOfOsmane. Of course, KingOfOsmane and playing France. I think he used to be quite a Japan spammer on RE and EP, of course. But I don't think that's such the case anymore. I think he's widened his berth, if you will. I think he quite likes playing Sweden, quite likes playing Portugal. But yeah, quite a strong player, KingOfOsmane. Harcha, a relative unknown actually. Played the game for quite a long time. He's quite an old player. Originating from Latvia, if I recall correctly. Yeah, it's Latvia. He does come from Latvia. And I think he's sort of British and Japan. I think of his two civs he plays mostly. Might be slightly different on Definitive Edition, but on EP that was the case. Playing the British here.
Yes.
He's going to be picking up a wood crate on Manchuria here. Quite a good map for British actually. You do get all those cows. Although France, I think, is probably better than British here, simply because you have that native scout to pick up the cows. There's no treasure contention here. France directly went for a TP. Do you see a 10-10 in store? Actually, 10 away. That's enough wood in there for a house, nearly. So, not a 10-10, probably a sort of 14-20. And yeah, cedar wood getting picked up by Harcha here. So again, these two players, I believe KingOfOsmane was the one who was a higher... Yeah, KingOfOsmane was a higher seed, and Harcha the lower seed, I believe, at least. But I don't know, it should be quite a close game, because I think Harcha's played quite a lot more DE than Osmane, off the top of my head. So it should be quite interesting. Harcha, Osmane even going to be picking up 120 XP. Which will take out that snow leopard. It will be a bit of a contention between John Hudson and KingOfOsmane Jean Ribault. And 120 XP for both players, especially the French player here, is pretty big. Obviously, British, you get a lot of XP from building those manors. You are lower HP here as a British explorer, as well as having that French native scout, which can come up and help. But having a look at the decks, which is quite important, of course. Harcha's got an interesting deck here. 8 Huss in there is weird. Two rockets. Normally you have 3 in there, but other than that, pretty standard with his 2 water cards. So you might be going for some sort of FI late game. KingOfOsmane, comparatively, actually quite a heavy FI deck. No 2 caravels. I forget it is in deck rare, but yeah, 6 cuirassiers, 14 skirmishes, and 4 culverins. So really quite good good cards there in Age 4. And honestly, I think I don't know what Harcha's saying here, but this matchup normally is British favoured, but if I can remember anything from the EP days, it kind of got turned its tide when you had, I think it was Mito who started doing FIs against British, and that's kind of what it's ended up becoming as well. So 120 XP treasure is going to get picked up by the looks of it, by KingOfOsmane. Harcha, got to go get some cows. I think he's building a TP of his own. Yeah, he's going to be building a TP of his own. We'll just speed through this little transitional phase. Not really much happens here, but yeah, that FI style deck is interesting. Again, Mito I think was the sort of pioneer. You have a full stacked Age3, but you also have some good cards in Age4. You have 6 cuirassiers, 14 skirmishes, and those 2 heavy cannons and 4 culverins, which are very, very strong. Crab got saying in chat that Brits have been the same since 2008. That's true, but the maps have changed. So as the maps have changed, it means that British is stronger because there's more food on the map, which is basically why Brits were very, very strong on maps which had high hunt. And TPs were also nerfed, so all the non-TP civs were buffed. So yeah, Harcha going for both the trading posts, going for a stagecoach nice and early. I think KingOfOsmane probably going to be doing the same. Yeah, has enough for steel chaps. Going to be aging with 400 wood, of course, and it would not be surprising to me if he went for a trading post site and went for a stagecoach himself, which is where his explorer seems to be going right now. First shipment, 700 wood, to be expected, really. And that's a lot of yaks. 9 yaks. Definitely worthwhile building a livestock pen here. And that's really the power of France when it comes to this map. You get a lot of yaks, and yaks, when they fatten, they gather twice as fast as hunt. And especially when you have steel traps, when you have hunting dogs, and just as France, they're just incredibly strong, especially if you're going for a sort of an FI play, because you get in those yaks at the same time that you'd usually get in. You'd go to age 4, so you go 1,000 coin in, and you get up very, very quickly. Allows you to get some musketeers on the way when you're going up as well. Yeah, not really much happening in age 2 here so far, really. A barracks went down for KingOfOsmane, 700 wood, and then building that stagecoach. Harcha, I think, went for the same thing. Yeah, going for 700 coin now. Aging up himself, funny enough. Went for a stable, but actually scouted that barracks. I think he's kind of stopped going for anything because of that. I'm just going to be aging up. Or maybe, yeah, I don't know what he's doing. Because normally you'd go 700, 600 wood here or 5 vills, and he's just not. So he's going to get a lesser, economically wise, and yeah, you can see he's now re-macroing for what should be an age 3 agenda. I think this is going to be a semi-FF or just a straight FF as Bert here, I think. Although he has overgathered if he's going for a straight FF. Quite a bit too much coin. Although I think he's getting steel traps now, which is what he's waiting for. KingOfOsmane comparatively. Is I think just going up himself, just going with a couple of musketeers, going to go up towards the base of Harcha, try and get a village of Pick. That scout will be scouting him out, which is nice. We'll give it a little bit of a sight picture you can see on KingOfOsmane's screen. Gives him sight picture to that sort of forward settler, if you will, on that Sero. And comparatively, obviously that's not being seen by Harcha, but it's just right there. It does have the Fog of War. Market, quite far away market from Harcha. I'm surprised it's so far away, but I think he was herding up here. But yeah, that market's done its course really. It's got enough resources in there. Not resources, it's got enough upgrades in there. You can see it's got steel traps as well as probably needs placer mines as well, or placer mines. But ganks all are coming in, aging up with the adventure, which is I think 6 or 7 longbow. I can't remember correctly. I think it's 7. And yeah, and I think going to be followed up by KingOfOsmane going up with the exiled prince here. But Harcha, not doing too strong economically, does have the stagecoach line at the back, which is supplying him with wood for manors. But normally at this point, you'd expect Brit to have sort of probably 100 and 190 mana pop or something like that. So he's going for sort of a GUA style, low mana pop, high aggression sort of style of play. That market will go down. Of course, markets are actually one of the most efficient buildings in terms of their size and actually their HP for costs other than walls. So that's why it's taking so long, and really you're losing 100 wood here for a significant amount of time for these musketeers not to be raiding you, which is important. But I don't really know what Harcha's doing. As Osmane's just going to go for a standard FI, I think. He's up right now already. It does say he's in a combo stage. That's a bit of a bug. It doesn't change, unfortunately. And yeah, actually even not. 2 falconets now coming in. And Harcha, comparatively, only has 5 hearts. He is going to get up in just a second himself. Does have access to those 2 falconet shipment as well. Will maybe even be able to capture those musketeers if he's lucky. Although the extra batch of musketeers coming up behind him means he won't be able to actually fight this. And we'll get just warded off here. KingOfOsmane now pumping out those 2 falconets. That villager will go down if he's not lucky. Harcha sees it and runs away. Nice reactions from Harcha there. These hussars are going to get pulled in as well. Minutemen do get cooled. And the falconets, not quite out yet, but the longbows are out in just a second. Nicely done here from Osmane, bringing back the Explorer to pick up the Minutemen, but unfortunately the snaring, actually a little bit of micro from Harcha will make it so those hussars stay alive, one of them on 86 HP, and they just will there for the snare, especially with those longbow at the back. We'll get some nice damage off on those musketeers, and weirdly, I mean, if Harcha gets some hussars in queue, those 2 falconets are not going to be seeing too much action for any time soon, simply because they've got no backing. You've only got 7 musketeers here. The French side now doesn't actually even have any more units in queue. So all those Jacks from that livestock penalty I was talking about earlier have fattened. So this is going to be a massive, massive power spike from KingOfOsmane. So these, of course, gather twice the speed of a normal hunt. So you're effectively doubling your food production for sort of 5 minutes or whatever from all those yaks. And of course each one of these stores 400, so that's 4,000 food, where you're effectively gathering at the rate of 2,000 food. Someone saying they are idiots. Here is a water map. Yep, could go on water, never did. Harcha on lower score than Osmane at this point, which is interesting, because normally as a Brit you'd expect to be quite significantly higher in score. But those Hussar are getting in some of the upgrades in there. Veteran Hussars are coming in.
Yes.
And as they come in, I think Harcha's going to have a push here. Teng Longbow coming in as a card. Pretty strong card, actually, Teng Longbow. He's effectively 1,000 resources in terms of wood and food. But he will get scouted here, and he really wants to keep these away. And really, you're going mass Huss versus an army which is going to be falconets plus musketeers. So Harcha, I think, needs to probably send his own two falcons to deal with this in a way, and he also needs to build up his economy, really, because France is, yes, even got slightly less villagers, but these are CDBs. Does have some nice upgrades on their steel traps as well as placer mines. No placer mines on the villagers, I don't believe. No placer mines on the villagers for Harcha. Does have gang saw instead though. But yeah, these Jacks are going to be powering a massive spike in terms of Osmane's economy. Osmane now aging, or by the looks of it, going to age. And once he gets in that age, I mean, 6 cuirassiers is incredibly strong, 2 heavy cannons. Both factories are very strong. 14 skirmishes is very strong. So, I mean, I don't know. It's difficult to really answer here. If Harcha's maybe going for mass Hussars, 16 Hussars now on the field. Would like to see maybe Cav Combat coming in soon to buff those Hussars.
Commandment.
But those longbows, they're not the greatest versus musketeers, honestly. I mean, people say the longbows can be either very, very good or very, very bad. And I think that's really the case when it comes to longbows versus musketeers. I only have a 1.5 multiplier versus them. Of course, I do have a range, but they're not like skirmishes where you can actually kite. So, Aussie John goes now, he's taking the piss out of my pronunciation of placer mines. We had someone on the ESOC stream, on the ESOC YouTube, who complained about our pronunciation as placer mines for like 5 weeks in the description, and then said, well, you need to pronounce it as placer, as he used to work at a mine or something. So from now on, I've just been saying placer because this guy has been constantly telling me it's placer mines, not placer mines, and just so he doesn't complain again. But yeah, this is going to be difficult for Harcha to push into here, especially seeing as I think the engineer is being in research here. So this is 2 falconets coming out for KingOfOsmane, which will allow him to have 4 falconets. And all these musketeers aren't going to be doing too well against, well, they're going to be doing very well when they're in guard against these hussars. Harcha going to go for some dragoons. Of course, the British upgrade does actually impact dragoons as well. Turn up your volume of your microphone. I can bring it close to my mouth. That probably would help out. But it could just be some guy trolling, which would be pretty funny. But I don't mind. Even if I'm saying it wrong, I don't mind. I say a lot of words wrong. My game is for some reason in German now. KingOfOsmane hat das Industrialise, whatever the other word was, which is interesting. I don't speak German, but yeah, coming forward here as Harcha with the 2 falconets. The engineer was teched in, 2 heavy cannons now coming in. He's incredibly strong. He wants to try and get a fight off before the guard musketeer upgrade comes in, which Osmane isn't too close to getting. But, I mean, all those falconets are very difficult to push in here. Again, you've got those longbowmen, which aren't the greatest versus musketeers. Yes, they do counter them, technically. But yeah, these two heavy cannons coming forward. And this kind of spells the end of Harcha's push. Harcha's economy, again, isn't the strongest. He's only on 140 mana population right at the moment. And he can build a couple more, but he needs basically language that can take out these cannons. And falconets, especially when they're against heavy cannons, they just do badly. Shot doesn't go off on heavy cannons. Crab got saying Riot Chav, and I can tell you now, Crab got, if you went to the UK, you'd realise I'm not a Chav in the slightest. You can probably hear that from my voice. But yeah, it just shows your intelligence. But anyway, yeah, it's difficult to really to do anything here as Brits, because you've got the Colves coming in. You now see 1,000 coin coming in for Harcha. Yeah, joke's meant to be funny, mate. Fortunately, that wasn't. Yeah, this is just basically musketeers plus cannons, and I don't see any culverins on the. I mean, actually, is culverins on the way, but they need to come in soon. And I mean, you've got to expect France to be sending full culverins next, surely.
J'ai repris des forces.
Settlers. Got mowed down. That guy gets Jean Vinderbolt gets mowed down at the same time as two settlers. Yeah, I mean, Harcha, if he can get out enough culverins here, like if he gets 3 or 4 out and tries to get those 2 heavy cannons out, he has a chance. Because that's a lot of hussars. Although hussars obviously aren't very good against his army, because it's just guard musketeers. He can definitely defend it, but the sound of those villagers mining and what's the main? Oh, he does see them. He just saw the villagers walk back. But yeah, this is going to be very, very difficult. Obviously, the dragoons can do some quite good damage against those falconets. One of the falconets goes down. How many does Harcha have? He has 3 culverins. If he can snipe some of these falconets from the back, but there's nothing to defend these. Yeah, Osmane sees these. He just runs up to them and just shoots them, right? 100%. Takes out a heavy cannon and a falconet at the same time. This is big. If they can get another shot off it, it might be a game deciding. Another shot of his game deciding here. A single shot, and that doesn't do anything. So the delay on those shots may have actually just sort of flipped the game over. And one of them's still alive. That heavy cannon is low HP, but it's in range of the culverins in range of that heavy cannon. Gets taken out, and we'll go back. What's on the way for KingOfOsmane? Not really that much, and Harcha now just running in with those hussars. Needs to try and get those falconets down. Even then, even if he does, like, what does he have? Yes, two culverins are now out, so they're going to be taking down those units. Falconets on low HP. Dragoons do good damage at the back here. They do have range resist, of course. The musketeers don't. More hussars coming at the back. Villagers getting graded at the bottom. We'll turn off Fog of War. But, yeah, I mean, imagine if those were 2 falconets instead of 2 culverins now. They would have been doing much, much better here. And I think that's game over. I think Harcha resigning there. Going for a mass hussar build, I don't think really worked out for him, unfortunately. And he in-based Raxed, and he in-based Stabled even. And I don't know, it didn't really work out for Harcha. I don't really know what he was going for, if I must be honest. I don't think it's the best... I don't think it's the best build, if I must be honest. I want to be changing that one. So I want to be changing that to 1. So it's 1-0 to KingOfOsmane. Of course, there is still a lot to play for if you're Harcha here. Have a look at the post-game. We'll give you back your predictions in just a second. And looking at military unit count, you can see Harcha was actually quite ahead here. That's the wrong one. Really, population is what you want here. Yeah, Harcha was actually ahead the whole game, but just the wrong mix of units. Especially here, like he basically just had Huss here, which is, yeah, it doesn't really help. Villager population wise, Brits obviously ahead, but these are CDBs, so times 30 by 1.25, and you're getting near close to that 40, and that's all you've got as Brits. You've got more. Harcha. Okay, if you're in the game or you know who wins, don't vote on the betting because it's not very fun. Predictions. Choose outcome. Osmane. Prediction. Let's do the second one. Start prediction. Game 2. And we're going to have 2 minutes for this one. There you go. Please don't put money in if you're in the game. It's not really right. But into the second game we go anyway. Perez getting annoyed in chat, which is pretty funny. What map is this? This is... Oh, God. I can't really see what's going on here. Again, the game is weirdly in German. I don't know why that is. Insider creating. This is Harcha as France. And KingOfOsmane as Spanish. So, I believe this was before the Spanish change. Actually, no, it wasn't. The logistician still works as it does now. We are a patch behind, of course. But the logistician should still be the same, I think. And I don't think either of these civs have been changed. It was only the US and, of course, Sweden, which were changed. We'll just speed up a little bit because for some reason the game always starts a bit weird. But yeah, this matchup's quite interesting. You don't see it too often. You see Harcha going for a trading post, is chopping wood for it as well. KingOfOsmane playing as the Spanish here. Will just be going for a trading post as well in Age 1. Normally, I don't think you go for a trading post in Age 1 as Spain. KingOfOsmane hasn't picked a deck yet. Let's have a look at Harcha. He has picked a deck. Kind of FI focused as well here. 1600 wood, 6 cuirassiers, and as well as those 4 culverins. But really, this is, again, it's kind of become standard now to have FI cards in your deck. Because it's, I don't know, it's just, it ends up working quite well. KingOfOsmane. Has he picked a deck? He has picked a deck. We'll slow down the game a little bit here. 90 food going to be picked up by Harcha as well. Yeah, KingOfOsmane's deck is kind of standard for Spain. You don't see those Age 1 cards, which would be reminiscent of a logistician build, which is where you send 300 coin or 300 wood all the time because it adds up into your stockpile and gives you extra on Age 1 crates, which is quite nice. 95 wood going to be picked up by Osmane, which is actually very, very strong for Spain. It allows you to go for a TP and Age sort of in transition if you want to. Or even go for a mark-in transition, which I think would be the standard play if you had an extra wood to do so. Harcha, just going to go for a 14, or either a 13 or a 14, 20. Probably a 13 without coin, without food even. And is going to be picking up that native scout as well. Cougar is going to get shot down as well with the native scout on the side there. Although a bit of a treasure contention. Don't know if it's been scouted by Osmane. Yeah, it does just scout Harcha now. The dog is right there. Bit of a pause from Harcha will mean that he doesn't get the treasure. And that dog behind will mean that he probably won't be able to get away easily. Will pull trick though. Of course, that is something you can do in this game. Yeah, we'll pull trick away with the native scout. And that's where you can see how Spain is so strong in Age 1. You're able to get in that dog. We'll be picking up 110 coin, quite strong as Spain. Allows you to not have to mine 100 coin in transition. We'll see a couple of villagers on wood here for... Yeah, a couple of villagers on wood for the Spanish player. Walking around, not really doing much here. Does get a market down, does. By the looks of it, go for hunting dogs. I thought he was going for... Oh, he's going to go for still traps when he... Okay, that makes sense. He got enough wood for still traps. And Harcha, on the other hand, is just going to go for a market. It's a standard. Spinning through a bit because, again, in transition, there's not really much to talk about, if I must be honest. Especially if you're solo casting, it can get a bit tiresome just to talk about what's going in transition, if I must be honest. That buck for tame wolf Harcha got earlier does allow him to actually just pick up a fight with the Spanish explorer there, which will just ward off the Spanish explorer. The French one is quite low HP, and of course you can train dogs as the Spanish one. Out with the outpost wagon, standard stuff for Spain here. Would not be surprised in the slightest if it was 700 coin, 700 wood. There you go. Forward outpost wagon coming forward. Have to see where that's placed. I'm missing the EP days where you could see a line right at the end when KevSoft came in and gave us some upgrades to the UI. Showed us a line where the wagon or the troop would be going, which was very, very strong, very, very nice actually. Harcha, on the other hand, just going to go for 4 CDBs as well as a sort of standard build, still traps, whatever. That forward outpost wagon will come forward, place it right next to that trading line. But both players going for safe trading posts early on in Age 1, which is important because it allows you to just to keep it safe, especially as France here, kind of normally on the back foot. France not going for barracks and base, but I think he's just going to go for an FF here. This is some toxic semi-FF play. And there you go. There's the overpopulation for Spain. Going for that coin. We'll speed up a little bit. Again, I don't know why it's so slow. I will restart my game just after this game so we can make sure we can get a bit faster. Because I think when you run the game for over and over again, it can make a bit of a RAM limitation and slow down the game, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, Harcha going up with the Scout, which is 4 Hussars. Not Harcha even. KingOfOsmane going up with 4 Hussars, and Harcha now edging up, now going 700 wood. Still that TP is up. But yeah, barracks now coming up in base for Spain, so this is kind of standard. Harcha now edging up himself with the exiled prince, so both players are going to be up at roughly the same time. Of course you do get those 4 Huss. There's another treasure being picked up, Nuke Clubman for Harcha, and actually that native scout of the Spanish does actually get seen by Harcha, which will pick it up, especially with that buck for tame wolf. Needs to be careful not to snot the snare. Buck for tame wolf doesn't snare itself. Native scouts have 5.5 speed when they're unsnared, so he needs to be careful. Oh, he did it, but he does get a shot off instead, so that's fine. Does walk away. Waddle in queue, still traps in queue as well. What's interesting here is to see what Osmane goes for first. If Spanish gold is quite a strong one to go here right away, because of course 400 coin with every single shipment is very, very strong. Harcha already up to the next stage. Musketeers in queue, probably beating Musketeers, and the first shipment being sort of 2 Falconets or whatever. But this is what I don't like about this build, though. If you go such a fast age 2 into age 3, you don't really get enough. You don't get a shipment when you get to age 3, so you don't really benefit straight away from it. It's good if you're thinking you're going to get rushed by Spain here, but unfortunately it's just not the case. Hussar gets taken down to half HP. And runs away. KingOfOsmane going for Spanish gold here instead. So he's going to take the tempo we got from being aged up quicker. And allow him to sort of get into the economy race. Nice and only go if you go Spanish gold 1,000 wood, you can get two town centres up and have 800 coin. And effectively have an incredibly good economy. What is wrong with my game? 2.21996E-314 than some other German word. I don't know what's wrong with my game. It seems to be not having the best time at the moment with his speed. But anyway, 400 Spanish gold coming in, 400 gold with every single shipment. Now after for Osmane. Now mixing in some skirmishes, so going Bordelero skirmisher. 1,000 wood now coming in. So we're going to be seeing basically now you have German shipments for Spain, but they are crates as well. So German shipments obviously I think 8% more costly in terms of the XP they cost, but they do have about 1,450 resources in AoE3. And comparatively, now that Spain has set that card, it turns them kind of into the same sort of game, because you see, yeah, basically they're all worth the same. This is what's important. So 400 gold of each shipment is very, very strong. But it's going to come down to whoever can get these falconet picks, I think. Obviously, there's a lot of musketeers from Harcha. It's kind of the same build order as Osmane last game. We'll pick up some falconets here if he's lucky. Obviously, we're watching a bit in slow-mo here because of how the rec system works. But if he picks up one of these falconets, this is huge. One of the falconets are low HP. We have one also low HP. One of them goes down. One of them is 80 HP. So yeah, this is huge. So now that you've got one of those falconets down, it means that you can trade with your two falconets incredibly easily. Especially when you're Spain. You get 4 shots off of those dogs. And it's just done. You're absolutely done. If that falconet is basically useless now because of how the trading of artillery works in this game. Like, these two falconets get shots off on that single falconet. There's skirmishes in the queue for KingOfOsmane there. Skirmishes get a shot off. That falconet needs to be so far away. And I mean, what can Harcha do here? He can get one shot off, and then this falconet is 100 HP. Spain can then build a church. Get it up to 4 HP. Now 1,000 wood is coming in for Spain, so Spain doesn't even have to go full economy. Just because of those 4 hussars. There was 3 hussars he got from aging up. And realistically, if Harcha was watching, he couldn't have got away with that. A couple of dragoons are over to the side. Harcha's could be doing a bit of raiding. Goons do of course have a malice versus villagers, so they're not the best. Just picking off those villagers with those musketeers, with those the skirmishes. Meanwhile, what's Harcha doing to commanders? He's going for a career switch, but really, what does a career switch do? I think he went 3 careers, yeah, 3 careers. What does it do? Like, I don't think it does anything, because you've got the Rodoleros here. Rodoleros are very, very, very strong. They are only age 2, which is a bit of a negative. And of course, he does have those dogs in there. Rodoleros have 6 speed. You don't really want to be putting them with the dogs, because 1 extra speed, especially when it's anti-cavalry, is massive. Right? But yeah, walking around here with these cuirassiers, and I mean, I think as Harcha, you got 1,000 coin here. You got 1,000 coin, try and get some, even 1,000 wood. Now he's even stuck, isn't he? He hasn't got enough population space to do anything. So I don't know. It's a difficult position to be here for Harcha, because you know Osmane is now going for a sort of greedier Spanish gold position because of his mass, as he's got that Rodolero mass, that skirmisher mass. And you understand that if you give him some time, he's going to end up becoming better and better, basically even new in terms of population-wise of villagers. So it's just difficult, because that 1 falconet is just so useless. If the difference between 1 falconet and 2 falconets is so hot, it's so easy to underestimate the difference. It's massive. I don't think you can overestimate. But at the same time, look at this. Might be the same way. All these cuirassiers are now going to get on top of the falconets. Well, they did get pushed off by the Rodoleros, but nice shot, probably out of range actually, from that falconet. We'll sort of show, we'll push Osmane back enough that he's back in his base, and those falconets are now, the cuirassiers are on the falconets. Harcha, what are you doing, man? Stay there. But if he gets a shot off, which he does, he gets 2 and 1. Look at that. That's insane. So now the tables have kind of flipped. And now all those Rodoleros, which are only now just veteran, they're getting kicked off by those veteran musketeers, and those cuirassiers can actually go on the other side and try and take out some of these all of these skirmishers. And it's at this point where you have 7 cuirassiers, and then you just run into the skirmishers, and they're dead. There is Minutemen which can be called. Has KingOfOsmane got anything in queue? He's got Rodoleros in queue. He's got Dragoons in queue. He's got 9 rods on the way. And a bit of bad pathing on those cuirassiers. Minutemen do get called out here. Does save the skirmishers with the Rodolero picks. But yeah, walking back there, incredible trade for Harcha. Shouldn't really have got it, if I must be honest. It was a somewhat poor unit control from Osmane. Yeah, I mean, what do you do here as even then? What do you do here as Harcha? You're somewhat behind in economy. Well, actually, about equal economy, and now he's sending Jaegers. So, what do you go into now as Osmane even? Do you go sort of Skirm Lancer, or do you go for a different switch? I'm going to take my watch off, it's fucking killing me. And there's the 30 Skirm shipment. Semi-FF Classic Jaegers. There's 2 Dragoons, which Harcha just left over here for ages. Do get picked up. Harcha hurting in terms of wood count, now just popping down a load of houses everywhere. And those 10 Jaegers will come in. But, yeah, I mean, again, KingOfOsmane now coming in with Rodolero combat, well, it's archaic infantry combat, right? So it's skirmishers, not skirmishers, archers and hand infantry. Which does actually, funnily enough, I believe even affect dogs now. Yeah, I think it affects dogs because it's all hand infantry. Where are dogs? Are there any dogs on the field? No. If there was, I'd show you, but there isn't. I believe it affects dogs now in D. Didn't used to, but now it does. The team one definitely does though, which he doesn't have in deck, which is actually better than team hit points. The team one is better because it affects dogs as well. But yeah, pushing forward here, Osmane with a lot of skirmishers, a lot of Rodoleros, and a lot of a decent amount of Dragoons. And Harcha has to get back here. The Jaegers are all that he needs to hold on to. Wait, one second. Did Drongo... Drongo subscribed to that... he subscribed to that streamer, which he showed on the stream the other day. That's funny. It's like subscribing to Kalen. That's Bad Settler's favourite streamer. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know who's ahead here. So if Harcha can micro these skirmishers well enough, if they get trapped in this TP site, that'd be terrible. And I feel like they're going to. But there's the villagers being pulled forward. There's a vill pull. Skirmishers coming from the side. Harcha definitely, I think, has the advantage here, actually, of the skirmisher count with just the unit composition. If he can micro it correctly, he definitely has the advantage. Yeah, all those rods getting some damage taken. Obviously, these rods take a lot of damage from the... oh, what's he doing? He's just leaving his crews there. These rods take a lot of damage from the skirmishers because they get... they don't have range resist. They have quite low HP as a whole. And, of course, they do get countered in terms of extra damage 2 times versus heavy infantry on these Jaegers. And, yeah, these Jaegers are just very, very strong. There's still 8 of them left. They have 0.4 range resist, 250 HP, 30 attack. This is another push in from all those Rodoleros. If Rodoleros can get on top, they're going to do well, but Musketeers behind are enough of a backing, as well as those couple of Dragoons in the line there, which will block them. And honestly, I think this is Harcha cleaning up this fight. Yes, he's on the front line with all his musketeers. I don't think there's any... Yeah, there's no, like, lancers on the way for either player. 5 Chris... It was lancers in shipment-wise. And there's also 5 cuirassiers coming out soon for Harcha. He's kept those couple of musketeers on the back foot, which is nice. Takes out those Dragoons from Osmane. Don't know why he's coming forward with these Dragoons. It seems a bit weak, but... yeah, good fight for Harcha there. Score's relatively even. But at the same time, you'll see Harchers jump up in a second because he's got all those cuirassiers in queue. And of course 7 skirms in as a shipment coming in just a second. But yeah, pushing forward. As economy-wise, pardon me, it's definitely in favour of. Yeah, it's definitely in favour of Harcha here. 40 Spanish villagers compared to 37 French. And if I find a French villager, you can see the up goes on the placer mines. The still traps. I've forgotten the name of it now, and Gangsaw, compared to the KingOfOsmane, who's only got actually he's got basically the same, just doesn't have Gangsaw. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it looks like Harcha's ahead. And especially if he gets this raid huge. There's nowhere they can go. There's no... And they're all bunched up. This is... How many villages is that for Osmane? It's 12 villages. And I would not be surprised if at least 10 of these went down. That's lancers on the way. That's a lot of lancers, though. This is a build-up of lancers. 13 lancers. We don't have the upgrade on them for extra attack versus infantry. But that's a big fight, definitely. I mean, look at the difference in villages now. 39, 1.25x. Simplify it 1.2. That's going to be what 55? No, it's not 55. My maths is terrible. It's 20%. 20% of 40 is 8. So it's 48. 48 villages basically for Harcha, and only 36 from KingOfOsmane. But this is quite a scary mass. This is a lot of lances, a lot of arrows. But the cuirassiers on the front line are good. The villagers now coming in. Lancers don't get a bonus on the villagers, funny enough, because they're counted as land villagers, not infantry. And this is where it's going to be very, very difficult for, I think, Osmane to really get anything out of his fight. Look how many units there are on Harcha's side. Most of these are infantry, those dragoons at the back, and they are getting good picks off on those skirmishes. But these lancers are particularly bad against sort of anything which isn't infantry. So he's pushing forward a bit too much here, though, Harcha. He's too far away from his dragoons. Dragoons do come in. They won't be acting as a blocker, unfortunately. A couple of the CDBs at the front, which are actually going to get ignored by Osmane. All the CDBs coming in from the side. These all do 11 damage, and they have 243 HP. They're not really tanking anything, but they're doing enough damage where they're sort of destroying Osmane's army. But yeah, I mean, Harcha gets a good fight here, but is Osmane out of the game? They're both relatively equal in score. Osmane finally getting out. Well, he still only has 1 TC up, so he's down in that sense. He lost all those villagers earlier, so I don't know. I don't know. This looks like it's on a winning course for Harcha here. Head and score, better economy. Though did lose a lot of villagers there, 36 to 4. He's still ahead. He's still ahead by sort of 3 or 4 villagers, off the top of my head. But yeah, those dragoons are scary to Spain. If you allow, if you get into sort of a skirm goon war against France or Spain, it tends not to go too well, which is what's happening here. Harcha now producing more cuirassiers. Has got 20 skirmishers as well as 4 musketeers and 3 Jaegers. This is Explorer mid map. Does still get a little bit of scouting from that X4, so we'll see the movement of the enemy troops, which is important. But yeah, going back and forth there. Might get caught up top here, Harcha. Not Harcha, Osmane. Basically, whoever has more goons here is important because those skirmishes are so far away. Do get taken out. He needs to get back though. Once he gets shot off by the skirmishes, we'll lose 2. So quite an even trade there, really. And sort of posing around the middle. Ecos are very close still. 42 to 38. Maybe slightly in favour of Harcha. But once these couple of dragoons get some raids off. Although mid-map now, those villagers, and there's no really where they can go. The skirmishers or the hussars are quite far away. These dragoons will get picked off by the couple of Jaegers and the skirmishers, which are right there. Nicely split by Harcha there. This is going to be a big raid though. The dragoons are far away. The dragoons are all the way up here. And what is this? 14 villagers. A lot of these are low HP because they were in that fight earlier. These lancers and hussars obviously aren't the best at raiding because hussars are age 2 here, and the lancers are actually just do 20 base damage, so they're not great. But this is going to even out the economy. Those dragoons are quite far off. 33 villagers now to Osmane's 43. So Osmane now ahead in terms of villager economy. Even more so when he loses all those other villagers. Harcha not really paying attention here. Well, he must be paying attention because he's moved all those dragoons. And now even going back. I mean, you could probably say even the skirmishers are now here. Skirmisher fight at the top. Now villagers go down everywhere. The cuirassiers on the other villagers at the top. So both players losing a lot of villagers here. Harcha not spending his fire, but that's fine. Harcha on 27 villagers, Osmane on 36. About even when you account for French villagers here. Even more of a raid going down the bottom. Another villager goes down for Harcha. 37 to 27. So again, 20% of, well, let's say 30 here. It's going to be an extra 6, isn't it, when it's 1.25 times. So it's going to be an extra 6, so 32. And you compare that to 37. So Osmane slightly ahead, still has Spanish gold in queue. But again, as the time goes on, it's going to go more and more into Harcha's favour. He has the better upgrades. He has the Cav Combat. Yeah, Cav Combat hasn't sent it in yet. Cav Combat, of course, does upgrade your goons for Spain, which is important. Yeah? That villager goes down right in the middle of the map. There's a couple of houses which are offshoots from Harcha who will lose, but he does get the scouting from them, of course. And we'll see, just out of the corner of his eye, these herds moving around. He was watching. Doesn't see any more villagers anywhere, and does actually see those houses of Osmane. What does Osmane see on his map? Osmane just sees all the houses of France, doesn't see really any villagers anywhere. Take Fog of War off. Another villager going down, evening up a bit more. Pushing in, Osmane, into the main base of Harcha. Harcha going for a big cuirassier batch now. And I would like to see him going Cav Combat at some point. Cav Combat, it's going to upgrade basically half his economy, or half his army. 17 goons, 5 queers, as well as those extra 5 queers is definitely worth taking. And look at that! Look how dead even the scores are. Even after a couple of fights, a couple of raids everywhere, and they're basically dead even in terms of scores. 35 points in it, which is what? 35 resources, which is absolutely nothing. But yeah, this is a skirm fight here. Where are the anti-cav? The anti-cav are quite far away. They're still only not even upgraded, any of these. The Rodaleros are so far away. Cuirassiers are going to come over on the side. And I don't know who wins this. It's going to all be down to Micro here. Cuirassiers on the right side. They need to, these Rodaleros are going to be doing work. But they are on the skirmishers, those units. And those Lancers, again, not very good against anything which aren't just normal units. And honestly, this looks like it's going to go Harcha's way. KingOfOsmane, what has he got left here? He's got 6 goons, 2 Rodaleros, 40 skirmishers. There's only 2 cuirassiers left, and there's 4 in a row. They're coming back. More skirmishers coming in for Osmane, and Harcha's going to have to push back. Harcha got quite a good fight here, but there's no goons left. And actually, where are these cuirassiers? Cuirassiers coming over to the side, and they're going to get some nice shots off on the skirmishers. couple of lancers come out to the side. These goons need to step. Why are these in hand-to-hand combat? Why are these goons in hand combat against skirmishes? It's terrible. Chris is coming out from behind, so this is going to do good damage. There's no anti-cav there for Osmane. Not a lot for Harcha either. Osmane now having Rodoleros and Q, I think that's probably 7 Rodoleros. And these goons look the same as the QSs, really, but this looks like... I mean, there's Rodoleros coming out the back, which will take out the goons if it's microed correctly. The QSs, and there's actually no QSs left, only one. And honestly, look at the scores. They're still very, very even. So even though that fight went pretty well for Harcha, the fight ends up being quite even. But Osmane now popping his Rodoleros, he has to get back. Lost most of his Dragoons. Scared of a Lancer pick. And yeah, it just looks very even now. People are saying they've heard of a male voice. There's nobody else in my house, so you wouldn't have heard anything. I don't know what it would have been. I didn't hear anything. Unless it played on my computer, I just didn't hear it. But yeah, I don't know what's happening with this game. It's still very, very even. It might be me knocking my mic. Was it that? It might have been that. As my mic is very sensitive. And it makes a lot of noise. I don't know what it was. I must be honest. But anyway, this is... It's still ridiculous. This game. Like, look how even it is. Harcha's now slightly behind. Well, it wasn't. There's an owl hooting outside. It wasn't an owl hooting outside, was it? I mean, it might be my neighbours shouting, as they have fights all the time in the morning. That wakes me up. So it might be that. I don't know. I can't hear anything. I have headphones on. And it wouldn't have been a different microphone because I only have one microphone on this computer. I'll listen back to it in a minute and then have a look, have a listen. The only thing I can legitimately hear is an owl, like outside my window, and it's very annoying. But yeah, this game is looking very, very even. Mill going down for Osmane. As Cuirassiers go back, they can't really fight anything because of the Rodoleros. The Dragoons, not much Dragoons from Harcha. Harcha now sending in 1,000 wood, going down for some more TCs, I think. Actually, an artillery foundry coming out from Harcha. Not really many resources on the map left. Only really silver mines anyway. Fucking owl. Owl's generally annoying me. Still no cav combat in for Harcha. Someone just said in the chat. Does have a lot of coin here, so this is going to be sort of falconets coming out surely. But it is quite an odd game, this. Mill's now going down for Osmane. Mill's probably going to be on the field for Harcha relatively soon. Did Harcha just buy a load of... No, he didn't. He just says... Okay. He put those artillery foundries in the queue there. So let's give it a little speed up. Oh god, it's chugging like hell. But yeah, nothing's really happening here. This the way recorded games work, unfortunately, as it means that the game is a bit laggy. And it seems to hog my RAM a bit. Even though I've got a server, I use a server to stream. But yeah, It's a bit annoying. But yeah, look at Harcha's army now is big. 4 falconets even. Skirmishes, as well as all those cuirassiers. And this is where you're going to go into someone's base. You could basically try and take down all those buildings, if you can. Osmane just built a church. Doesn't have unction in deck, so not the best thing to use. Wait, can you guys actually hear an owl? Because there is an owl. This is really confusing me. But Jesus. But yeah, this is he's just cleaning up. He's just cleaning up all these stables and houses and whatever. And this is where Spain's going to get caught up here. Because they're losing all the infrastructure. They don't really have the economy to put in the infrastructure again. That market going down is important as well. Veteran crossbows now on the field. So this is really sort of penny pinching at the end with no gold for Osmane. Osmane now has Carverins in queue. Comparatively, France, not really that much. But, yeah, I mean, Harcha just takes down all this infrastructure, and Osmane can't build anything. Again, he's going to get one Colv out, which again, I said this earlier, one Colv is not very good, because you need 2 to be able to kill falconets and stuff, and 2 falconets kills a Colverin as well. But that's a lot of skirmishes. It's 35 skirmishes, 9 crossbow, 23 Rodoleros. Harcha, on the other hand, it's 18 skirmishes, 7 dragoons, 5 cuirassiers, a Jaeger, and 4 falconets. So realistically, I mean, both players have a big army. I think Harcha is slightly ahead now, and Osmane still popped, but does have the infrastructure up, does have those mills, does have housing now back up again. Doesn't really have anything he can send here. Has 600 wood, I guess he can send. Does have archaic infantry hit points as well as some of the eco-fear and stuff like that. Just to explain the owl, I live in a student house, and right next to my computer is a patio doors, because it's basically a living room, and as such there's a tree outside, and I'm pretty sure there's an owl in the tree just hooting. I for some reason can hear it. It's very annoying. But yeah, pushing forward with these falconets, and this is where Osmane sort of gets stuck here. He doesn't have anything to do with these falconets really. He has that single Culverin, but what's a single Culverin doing against 4 falconets? Unless you micro it like a god. Harcha even now getting in the infantry line of sight, and now going down with 2 TCs on his own, going down to mills. Yeah, YouTube viewers are going to be quite confused about an owl which nobody hears. I hear, but you guys don't hear. I want to know what noise you guys heard was there, because I genuinely don't know. I don't know what it was. It doesn't matter. Nobody actually who matters even watches these YouTube videos. Most people who watch them are people who don't understand. Don't understand what ESOC is, and they end up complaining about not being able to use the patch or something. It's really quite silly. A lot of the time. But yeah, I don't really know what's happening here. Harcha's too scared to walk in. And KingOfOsmane obviously just rebuilding here.
Sí, preparado. ¿Qué me ordena? Preparado.
Yeah, realistically, how many people are going to watch Harcha versus KingOfOsmane when it comes up? Normally the ones which get all the views are like Kaiser or Maito or Hazard in the title. Or A's, actually, especially. All those three get a lot more, or those four get a lot more viewers. But, yeah, I mean, this has been quite a good series so far. I think as a whole, I don't really understand what's going on now. This game has confused the hell out of me. And Harcha just doesn't want to do anything. I mean, I think for the last 10 minutes, Harcha could have ran in. Is now getting in the Comanche trade language, which makes it so your coin is cheaper. So your coin isn't cheaper, your coin's worth more, basically. It's 10%. I can't even look. Yeah, Comanche trade language, yeah, it's 10%. It's not offending people, that's just, it's just how it is. People genuinely watch games with big names in it get way more viewers. The same with finals and whatever. Like it's names which people can recognize. Hazard, Maito, Drongo, for example. It doesn't have to be the top end of players. It's just people they recognize. But yeah, there's not. I'm just going to speed this up because there's not really much happening at all, and it's just going to be both players kind of just posturing around. Spain now building pikemen. It's like watching one of the old Hazard. It's like watching one of the old Hazard treaty games where Hazard just stopped casting and just stopped casting. Didn't say anything for like half an hour because you're casting a treaty game where it's impossible to cast anything because nothing's happening. Right, Osmane's now pushing, so we can slow it down a bit. So, takes down a trading post. Don't know what he's going to do now. He's finally on plantations, I think. Is he on plantations? No, he's not on plantations. So, yeah. So, I guess Osmane's pushing forward. Osmane pushing forward. Veteran Rodaleros are there. Veteran pikemen, veteran crossbowmen always coming forward. What is Harcha doing? Harcha's he's just booming. And finally there's a fight. Falconets come out. Don't get any shots off. And forces the cavalry away, forces the mass away, and now they're just going to be walking away from each other. Great. We do actually have people in chat saying that there is a tournament. Obviously, there's a tournament going on right now, but there is Soldier versus GUA, which I think is going to be incredibly interesting to watch as a series. Very hyped, a lot of fun. Whoever's casting it might be able to get a 7-man cast. Let's just go. Oh god, it's chugging. This game, it handles stuff so badly. Like, the game genuinely handles RAM in such a terrible way. Like, it's now using 7.2 gigs of my RAM, and it's chugging like mad. But yeah, both players walling now. I can speed it up, but it's just gonna chug like 6 FPS. It's terrible. You know when I casted the lower elo games, which I'm actually gonna do some more of actually when I get some time. When I casted that, this was This is much alike to it, where players didn't really do very much for a lot of time. I think I just need to restart the game because I've played about 4 or 5 games now on it, and it's just a ram hog. But yeah, not much is happening. I don't really know. Like, Harcha's just max vills now. This is Colorado. Someone asking what map it is. It's Colorado. What is happening? Harcha could have won like probably about 20 minutes ago. He's had four Falcons just standing there for the whole time. Now getting all the upgrades in. Osmane is now 7,000 score behind. Finally getting an Eco Theory. Finally getting his first plantation down. So that's good. I'm just gonna. You guys are gonna have to deal with it being. Oh god, I can't do that. There you go. 20 FPS is fine. That's better. That's an interesting wall. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm not casting it very well. I don't really know what I can cast here. They're just getting upgrades in. There's literally nothing happening. Of course, if I was with a co-caster, you can just talk about, I don't know, family matters at this point or something. I don't have a co-caster. Not possible to co-cast with recorded games. Recorded games, of course, as you can see, run like dog crap. Not well. I genuinely do. I mean, someone's aging. Osmane's aging, and so is Harcha. They're both aging. So Harcha's nearly full pop now. Getting in Bastion. Yeah, there's not much. If I must be honest, this is possibly one of the worst games I've ever casted. Up till about 20 minutes, it was fine. But other than that, this is terrible. This is why Treaty doesn't work as a game mode. Treaty is just absolutely terrible because of this. This is awful at this point. Nothing's really happening. I am fast forwarding. Just the rec system on this game is not very good, so it kind of lags. Yeah. I guess I can talk about how me versus Fitzborough is going to happen on EGC TV at some point, I believe. Should be quite interesting. If you guys are interested in that, you can watch that on EGC TV in a couple of weeks or whenever it's being done. But this is someone's pushing. Let's watch it. So Harcha's pushing. Osmane is Industrial Age. Harcha's Industrial Age. Voltigeurs are already in. Obviously, these are just crossbows, so they're not good. Coverings Royale, Gendarmes is coming in. Harcha, can you please just destroy this gate? Thank you. I don't. Jesus Christ. What's going on here? Bit of a firefight. One Colv in with Colvin Royal. 2 Colvs in finally. Four Falconets pushing forward. They're probably getting a good shot off here. Massive shot from the Falconets. Don't think it really matters. Because these veteran pikemen are dog. Culverins get taken down by the Culverins of Harcha. No, these guys aren't low elo. These guys are high elo. This game just sucks. King getting destroyed. Big surprised. But that's the game. What a game. Enemies. Harcha honestly did incredibly well in terms of his micro and whatever. Did very well in that regard. Experience. This is JL's favourite thing. Combat experience. You can see France did very well. Military unit population. You can see from here neither player did anything. So that was interesting. 23 minutes of absolutely nothing. Villager count. Yeah, 23 minutes, absolutely nothing, and you can see it, the game. I mean, up and down here. It was quite interesting here. All this really peaks and troughs. Really interesting, but other than that, yeah, not so much. Harcha actually outgabbed in the end as well, after those big 2 raids. But I'm going to restart my game. There's 3 more games after this. Let me just... oh, that's restarting. I think it's this one. Oh, Harcha did win that. Well done, Harcha. But let's... Yeah, I am bringing the hype. That game was terrible. Kind of wish it didn't happen. Let's get into the next game. Hopefully my game loads quickly enough. Right, next game. Let's not look back at the old one. I don't know how many people are watching that. I don't know if anyone's watching that because I don't know why you ever would. But the next recorded game, Austria versus Latvia, there's the thing, and third game, going straight into it. Hopefully this one isn't 6 hours long. Hopefully, I say that. So it's... Oh. I like how the game always starts when you're locked. You can't see what's happening, and then the game changes your speed. Very sillily. It doesn't need to. So. Harcha's playing Japan. Top of a map. It is Alaska, which is a water map with all the whales here. It's right in the centre of the whales. Right here. Yeah, Alaska, and he's in the blue. And bottom of the map, KingOfOsmane in the, pardon me, the green as Russia. I'm gonna open a beer because I'm bored. But could you do the predictions, Harrison, please? But yeah, this is obviously Osmane versus Harcha again on Alaska. Port versus Russia. Japan versus Russia. Normally this is a Russia favoured matchup, honestly. I think traditionally a Russia favoured matchup. Yeah, so obviously Japan going for a consulate. Pretty standard there. See if he got a deck already. Normally you'd go for 3 boats here. Yeah, 3 boats. Harcha's probably going to go for that. Russia, on the other hand, went for a market, oddly. Normally you don't see this as Russia. And we'll be getting hunting dogs in. So I would not be surprised if this was a 14 fail age up. Pretty standard. And comparatively, let's see what he picks here. Yeah, goes for distributivism, which is a wood trick of about 2.5 villagers there. So not too bad. Pretty standard deck there for Russia. Didn't actually look at Harcha's deck past the water aspect, so oopsie daisy. Have a look at it again. Yeah, pretty standard deck there for Harcha. Not too much to say about it. Wait, is Ransack in his deck? Ransack's not in. No, someone was talking about having Ransack in his deck. It's not there. Bit of a contention between the Russian explorers and the Japanese explorer here over this 80 wood treasure, which is actually pretty big. But I don't think it's gonna. I don't think the Russian player is gonna stay around. The difficulty here for these Japanese explorers is these 2 grizzly bears are quite difficult to kill because they've got high HP, and of course with the European explorers you have the crack shot. With the Japanese ones you just have the stun. So realistically, you tend to struggle. Tend to struggle versus those bigger treasures, and that's especially the case with stuff like polar bears, where you can't really crack shot them, you can't really kill them as the Asian explorers. But that Carlington Yerozov is very low, so he's gonna Harcha's probably be able to pick that up. We'll speed it up a little bit. And there's the mature Cougar kit picked up, which is nice. Again, it does an extra damage. Does, I believe, 10 times through for Harcha there. So he'll be using that on these sort of treasures here. 130 XP, legendary Sasquatch, which is good. But Osmane not really doing much. Is he going forward with a villager? He is going forward with 3 villagers. That's kind of standard. Yeah, they're going to go forward. They're going to put a blockhouse down. And comparatively, the Japanese player is actually going up with Kani Martyr, I believe. Not Mikani. That's wrong. That's not Mikani Martyr. That's the Tashogu Shrine. Kani Martyr's for Kani Martyr is for the Indian civilization. That's a classic goof from. That's a classic GUA goof if people remember it. I didn't actually mean to mock it, but I guess I just did. But yeah, this is 80 wood, which Harcha for some reason can't pick up. He went to go kill the explorer instead. Osmane straight up to age 2. What's he going to do here? Going to go for the 5 Cossacks. And he's going to be pushing into a base. Harcha putting a little wall here. And of course goes actually with a stable in age 2. Straight away. I'm going to go for 600 wood. Only on 50 shrine pop. Went for, of course, those 3 boats. Didn't go for Kami. There's the 5 Cossacks. Going to be running forward. There's the never stable. So these 5 Cossacks are going to try and do some work, but at the same time, I mean, you can just call Minutemen from the town centre, and that's what Harcha's going to do. Try and bait, trying to bait some of those units. Pops them out slightly on the wrong side, and doesn't actually have any Naggies in queue, so needs to be careful not to lose any of his villagers. Loses a villager, and Osmane probably going to get away from that. One of those Cossacks is 1 HP. But all those shallots means that any of those couple of sentries, which will obviously dwindle down in HP, will not really be a problem for Osmane. Does ship in, not as Harcha even, does ship in this irregulars, which is effectively the town militia or the colonial militia from the old game for the Japanese Civ, and it works roughly the same. You get an extra batch of Minutemen and you get extra damage. It's very good against Russia because their Strelets take 1 shot, their Musketeers only have 120 HP, so they get 1 shot as well. But yeah, Harcha's build is odd because those Naggies, yes, now there's Musketeers coming through, but those Naggies aren't going to be too useful. You could probably defend this just with a town centre fire, I think. You will be able to raid though with 4 Naggies, and of course 4 Naggies, they do have slightly less damage than a Hussar. They do cost more. I don't know whether those buildings were so loud, But yeah, these Naggies aren't too bad at raiding, so that's probably what he's going to end up doing. Try and get taken down there. Aussie Drongo just got banned from ESOC. That's nice. The shrines, yeah, just getting taken down. That's four being shipped there for Cossacks. Would not actually surprise me if a Russian player here went for 13 shillets. And yeah, Nagi's not really doing much. I mean, he could. The problem Harcha has here is he has those Naggies and they're kind of useless because he can't really raid anywhere. Because Russia is right next to everything. He's right next to the Moose, he's right next to the gold mine, and he's right next to, well, the town centre, of course. So he can't really do much in that regard. And they're not really going to be fighting against this massive Cossacks because versus Cossacks they end up losing. Especially in such a small number. And yeah, Harcha doesn't really have anything else here. Doesn't have the consulate stuff because he shipped the boats instead. So he does have 6 boats on those. But he doesn't have the 7 crossbows from the consulate, which is what he kind of needs behind those walls. Sending in 4 villagers now. And he's got a lot of a decent amount of resources in his base, so he doesn't really need to worry about this at all. And I mean, Osmane kind of went not all in, but somewhat all in the sense that he went for 5-4 and then 700 gold. So obviously 5-4 is 2 shipments of cavalry. Did get a couple of get a villager I think from 5 Cossacks, as well as getting a decent amount of these shrines. But Harcha's still shrine booming here. Well, not really, actually. I'll tell a lie. He's only got 7 shrines when that goes up, so. And all these shrines over here are now in danger from those Cossacks. We'll just speed up a little bit here. Hopefully get to a bit of action. Yeah, just shrines going down. Might get caught out if he's lucky. These Naggies might catch out some stuff. But just more Naggies being made by Harcha. Score in favour of Russia slightly. Raid over here, over to the right. We'll pick up a house as well, which is pretty big. But yeah, Russia just kind of going back and forth here, aging. Both aging. Oh, actually, tell a lie. Osmane's already been up, as he went up with the Oxide Prince. 2 Falconets now coming in, and this is going to be, I think, Osmane's push, really, as a whole. Those Cossacks not really doing too much, they're just going to be running around. The Strelets and the Musketeers just walking around as well. But I don't know what Harcha does here. He gets up. He's like halfway up. He's going up with a castle and base, weirdly. But he gets up with a golden pavilion and gets 6 Yumis. But as soon as those Falconets are now forward, which they are... what just happened there? I don't know what happened there. It was weird. Once those Falconets are up, they're just going to go forward and take out this this gate and whatever, and then they just get in. And what does Harcha have? He has 3 or 4 Naggies. Has a couple of Naggies in queue. No, actually not even that. Doesn't have any Naggies in queue. Those sentries are now down. And these Falconets can just take out the Tsogo Shrine or something. And he's down and out, really. And actually, I'll tell you what, I think that Gold Pavilion might even be able to go down with that many villagers. Castle goes down. Gets a lot of damage taken off of it. Tsogo Shrine. Takes a lot of damage out of it as well. It gets taken down itself. Yumi Archers come out, but they're not going to be doing too much because of the Falconets, and at the same time, this Golden Pavilion will also get taken down. The Nagi's at the back. This is reminiscent of the previous game. They're like 2 HP. No, they're 2 and 4 HP. What the hell? Just shoot at your TC. There you go. They're both down. And actually that will pays off for Harcha. But what does Harcha do here? He has Nagis in queue, but there's enough Musketeers to really deal with the Nagis. 4 Nagis now. Does have CM, of course. So can call CM. But his economy kind of looks weak, honestly. Still slightly stronger than Russia's. Playing over as Yumi's and Nagi's come out, but there's a lot of Musketeers here which will deal with them. And this is the problem Harcha has. He's only got one type of unit, can't really do much with it. Could have maybe have put 2 flaming arrows here and toyed around with a little piece of wall here and a little piece of wall here or something. But at the moment, he hasn't really got anything to go on. Now getting in Discipline Naginata. Of course, does still have that CM, but the CM against the Russian, basically age 1, age 2 Musketeers, the normal Musketeers is not great. So it's only 6 shrines to, well 5 shrines, yeah 6 shrines to the Japanese player. Going to lose this Golden Pavilion, which of course gives you a distinguished buff of sort of 10-15%. And those Nagis might get caught out, but again, I mean, what does Osmane have at the back of us? He has a better economy, will get stronger and stronger, has 2 Falconets in queue now. I don't think he'll get lucky again, Harcha, with the Falconets and artillery, but yeah, we're going to push forward. A couple of 3 Falconets going to push forward, but we'll have to see how those pan out. Russian Explorer goes down. But again, I mean, what does he do against his three Falconets here? Does he have flaming arrows in queue? Doesn't even have a shipment ready. Doesn't have a castle from the looks of it anywhere. So can't get any flaming arrows out. Yes, you have CM. Yes, you have ability to pop all those units. But at the same time, 3 Falconets, that's a lot of siege. How does Civ pick work in this tournament? Someone asks. It works New World Championship rules. So if someone wins, the person gets to counter pick in the next game versus them. But yeah, this is Harcha's dead, even with all these CMs popping. Yeah, there's other CMs, but you're messing up with a wall. You're not going to get the same luck again. Villepol comes in. Russia's ahead of you in economy-wise, and it's just not going to work. And unfortunately, that's kind of the end of the game here. So looks like it's going to be 2-1 to Osmane. Harcha actually is weirdly holding this, but he doesn't have much of an economy left. And you can see the score difference, 6,900 to 14,000 is significant. Really all Osmane did there was put some pressure on age 2, and then went to age 3 himself. Harcha went to age 3, didn't really get anything out of the age 3 went for Nagi. Somehow got the 2 cannons, which he kind of shouldn't have done. But yeah, that's the game over. That's 2-1 to Osmane. Looking at the scores here over the military unit, you can see Russia did have a lot more units, but obviously a lot of them died because they are Russia. Military unit count or military unit population here, you can see the difference actually is massive. Even Harcha, when he was at his max, was 41. Osmane was at 65. They are weaker units, of course, because Osmane's units are Russian, so they are weaker. But yeah, just economically wise, look, Osmane was far ahead, 3,000 ahead as Russia, and yeah, not the greatest game for Harcha there. We'll get into the 3rd or the 4th game even. Of course, it is a best of 5. That's the wrong That's the wrong document. It is a best of 5 in the group stages of the Global Championship, which is $5,000, of course, as a prize pool. So it's significant, and it's also a major. Someone was trying to make saloon Mamluks. I don't know why that's saying that, but I don't think any of them are going to. Of course, it still has the same bug where my scroll speed is the same as theirs. But yeah, what's the matchup? It's Ottomans versus China. Quite a standard, quite a standard matchup. I think this is quite China favoured. I'm slow in my words. And we've got a speed for Age 1 here because, again, Age 1 not really much happens. We'll have a look at the decks when it comes out. Harcha, by the looks of it, going for 2 villages to start with. Oh, actually, no, a TP and a village. There you go. That TP at the top got taken out for Osmane. It's 2-1. I forgot to change the scores. I'll do that right now. How do I change the score? Which one is it? I've forgotten. Not to King of Osmane. King of Osmane is Breeze, isn't he? Yeah. There you go. That's a shipment coming in. That's 300 wood. 300 wood is the first shipment as Harcha. Hang on, what's going on here? Bit of variance. Yeah, 300 wood coming in. Osmane, on the other hand, well, for 3 villagers, that's standard. Let's have a look at Osmane's deck. It does have Silk Road in deck, funny enough. As well as, other than that, it's kind of standard for Ottoman. These 2 artillery cards are a bit odd, but other than that, they're pretty standard. Compared to Harcha's deck, which we did have a look, that's a very odd deck. So, 300 wood. Northern Refugees. Northern Refugees is standard, but, I mean, 7 hand mortars. Kind of standard versus Ottoman. But stuff like 4 iron flails is odd. You got this weird Emperor's Cap army, 22 arquebusiers and 8 hand mortars, not the most standard. And Ever Victoria's army is very odd, and even 11 hand mortars I'd argue is odd. So quite an odd FI deck there for Harcha. Give it a little speed up. Again, we are in the transition to Age 1 and Age 2, so not really much happens here. Other than 300 wood went in for Harcha, went for I think a second TP here probably. Let's have a look what he's going to do. Yeah, second TP. He's going to go all the way down the bottom here and put a TP down. I think this is just to stop Ottoman getting in the TP line. Ottoman, on the other hand, is now aging up. Of course, with the Quartermaster, which is 400 wood. Slow down a little bit. That man is furiously taking that out. 80 coin being found by Harcha. That's quite nice for China. Osman, of course, going for a training post here. Probably will go for the training post up here as well. So that tends to be what you do as Ottoman here. You edge up with 400 wood. Unless he's got a villager forward. He does have 2 villagers forward, so he might go for Age 2 play here. Could be starting a stable. That's kind of standard. There you go, 80 coin being picked up by Harcha. Yeah, 700 wood. And probably 700 coin directly after this. So he's going to go for the TP line. Going to try and get a barracks town. And have a look what Harcha's doing here. Aging up. Slowly aging up, actually, funny enough. Relatively slowly. Does have 2 shipments in deck, in stock, of course, because of the TP line. There you go. Osmane going for that other TP. There's a barracks going down. We'll speed up a little bit because there's not a huge amount happening. There's Janissaries coming out for Osmane. And on the other hand, Harcha just about to be up himself. Of course, with that Summer Palace, you do get a decent batch of food. You get 400 food. And he's probably going to be using that just to age up. I'd be very surprised if anything else happened. The pet monitor lizard is out for Osmane. I didn't see that treasure, which he did pick up. But, yeah. 9 Chang pikemen. That's an odd shipment. Because you know that the Ottomans are going to go for... I mean, you even scouted the barracks here. So you know Ottomans are going to go for a Janissary. So if you're going to go for 9 Chang pikemen, what are you really getting out of this? Yes, you can go siege a TP, but are you going to get a TP down by the time the pikemen... basically by the Janissaries? So I don't know if it's worth it. Especially seeing now stables coming out. I think it's better just to age normally and then go for 9 Chang pikemen. There's a 9 Chang pikeman. Where are we going to go? Just going to be running around. There's Stagecoach coming. That's Osmane did that, I believe. Yeah, there's the H2 canoes coming in now. See the 5 Jans on that trading post line. We'll take down that trading post. And of course that trade cart will deposit some wood. So it would have paid for itself by now already. Even at the top here, actually, Harcha going to be bringing up 80 wood. Don't see a barracks or anything down for Harcha, so it's just going to purely be those 2 shipments and then aging up, I think. He's going to go for the sort of known coin age up. And yeah, he can take out these two Jans quite easily. The Jans themselves aren't going to be doing too well. The Hussars, now 3 Hussars coming out as well. So this is going to be quite difficult to deal with for Harcha, because Jan Huss versus basically bow pike, but these are weak pikes, and look, they're just going to get straight run into. And really, Harcha needs to get back here. He can fight this somewhat, but he just needs to get back. Yeah, I mean, he can just basically trade these off for a couple of Jans. Going forward there was a bit of an odd play. But yeah, he trades these off for Jans. He's about to age up himself anyway. Now shipping in, was that 600 or 700 wood? Yeah, he's going to age up now. Age up with the Skirmonder probably. But, I mean, he gets a batch of Chukanu and Pike in just a second. But, again, I mean... Yeah, he's now going to lose all these villages. Loses 2 villages is bad for, especially seeing as the other guy's got Stagecoach and is now getting even more of a Stagecoach. And I don't know, the stuff he sent didn't really do very much. He's now aging up with the Porcelain Tower. It just seems like a mistake, especially that Porcelain Tower. I mean, he could defend with Minutemen here quite easily. Doesn't have really anything else you want to send an H2. Calls out the sentries, but unfortunately he called them on the Janissaries, which isn't really going to work too well. We'll pick up one of the Janissaries, a little damage on the Janissaries at least. More Janissaries coming down the back here, which will get some shots off. What is KingOfOsmane doing? He's just spamming Jan Huss. I think that's what you kind of want to be doing here as King. And comparatively, Harcha is aging still, but he's got no villagers on that wonder, or at least I think he's only got 2. Whereas Chukanu will get picked up. He doesn't have any shipments he can send here, doesn't even have CM he can send. Has 700 wood stacked. Has at least 10 villagers in that TC, which is fine, but these are Hussars. They're going to take a long time to shoot down. Trying to get some damage off, loses a villager out of it. And yeah, it doesn't look great for Harcha, if I must be honest. There's a villager going down. Another villager going down. And Harcha's only on 17 villagers. He's got less villagers than Ottoman. Yes, he's going to get that wander up, but again, he's down on the Stagecoach line. Yeah, there's a consulate going up the back, so maybe you can do something with the British Redcoats when they come out. my god, what just happened to that village? But honestly, I don't think there's really much you can do here as Harcha. You lose both your villages here, and I mean, they have low HP anyway. There's another village going down the bottom, and I think even another one at the top. But this does get scouted, and that construct takes a long time to build. And now you can see a couple of hussars going over to that consulate. They're going to take that down, and then there's no wood. If that consulate doesn't go up, there's basically no chance of you winning, like at all. And yeah, this game is well and truly over, honestly. I don't think there's really much you can do. There's the edge up. Where's the porcelain tower? But again, like you could have done something with. I think what's better here is you just go 700 coin, 700 wood, or 700 coin 9 Chang pikemen or something like that. Because you age up with the. You age up with the skirmishes, and you can be fine. There's the consulate going up. So the consulate, even with a consulate, maybe you can make something out of it. There's a villager here. What? Don't know what's going on there. But yeah, that consulate up. What's Harcha going to go with? Probably British consulate. I'd be very surprised if he went with anything else. KingOfOsmane still going for sort of Jan Huss. That's all he needs to do. That batch of units going to be running away. Ooh, at least distract a bit, I guess. But and there's the redcoats do come out. I mean, I guess it's possible for Osmane to, or Harcha even to come back if he gets a good trade with these arquebusiers now coming out. Gets the Minutemen come out as well at the same time. But oh, he just quits. Okay. Yeah. So I believe that's over. I believe that's the game over. And unfortunately for Harcha, that's him losing the series 3-1. Quite a close series, actually. A lot of the games were quite close.